YouTube, I am back with another video, another rant of WWE, if you want to call it that. Today's video is simple. Why dream matches no longer exist in pro wrestling. Earlier this morning, I read on Instagram that Sasha Banks was trying to have a dream match with Trish Stratus. All in all, that would be a good match. That would be a dream match. The thing about it is, the problem with all of it is already ruined. WWE ruined it when they brought Trish back and fed her to Charlotte. That's ruined. You that year you could have gave Charlotte any other opponent. You could have gave her the night off. You had the dream match in your hand and you gave it to Charlotte. Okay? Now Sasha wants a dream match with Trish. I'm gonna be honest. There's no point in having it. The reason there's no point in having it is, one, Trish is retired. She hasn't been training. There ain't no reason to bring her out of retirement just to get fed to another four-horsewoman or whatever you call them. Truth be told, at this point, does dream matches even exist anymore? Everybody say, oh, that's a dream match. But is it? You know, dream matches are supposed to be matches that are supposed to happen with wrestlers in their prime, you know, or at least before they get to the point where it's like The Undertaker, for example, when he got to the point where you saw it was time for him to hang it up, when you saw he was reaching the end of his legacy, when you saw he was gasping just to make it through the first 5 minutes of the match. That right, dream matches don't exist anymore. Everybody says, oh, but we can still do Brock versus Bobby. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The reason it ain't gonna happen because, one, the writers don't think like we do. Two, Vince doesn't think like anybody with common sense thinks. Like, he keeps bringing Goldberg back, and it's like, at this point, honestly, Goldberg is one of my top 5 at least favorite wrestlers growing up. But even I'm sick of Goldberg at this point. One, Goldberg doesn't need any more titles. He's had all the titles. He's had his redemption from WrestleMania 20. That clusterfuck that was an absolute turd on a paper plate. He had that moment. You gave him this little moment with Bobby Lashley. Okay, it's ended at this point. No more Goldberg. Let him go. He did what he did. He avenged his son. Let that be it. Let that be his last dance right there. Because he's at this point, you're using Goldberg in the place of The Undertaker, and it doesn't have that same effect. Like, even almost 60, The Undertaker shows up, you're like, oh shit. Goldberg shows up in early 50s, you're like, god damn it. So let it be it. Let Goldberg go off, do whatever he got to do. You know, start another TV show. You know, open another gym, whatever, train his son to be a wrestler, whatever the case may be. Let him go. Brock, on the other hand, I'm not interested in Brock versus Lashley. It should have been happened by now. It should have happened when both men were on Raw. It should have happened when Lashley first came back, but it didn't. And at this point, it's not gonna happen. One reason, because it's like anytime one is on either show, they never entwine. Then even when they're on the same show, they never cross paths for some reason. I don't understand that. So there's no dream match, especially if in WWE. If there is a dream match in WWE, it's gonna be one of those dream matches where they just gonna feed them to one of Vince's golden kids or whatever the case, or it's gonna be a dream match where it's just like, you want to see it, but you're hoping that it's not another Taker versus Goldberg type deal. In case anybody don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Goldberg versus Taker and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see why I'm saying there's no other such thing as dream matches. Dream matches are pretty much just a word at this point. I mean, even in AEW, when you see two different wrestlers come together for the first time, you're like, oh shit. But at the same time, it's not really a dream match. It's just two good wrestlers going one-on-one. So, all in all, there's no such thing as a dream match anymore in WWE. It'll never be any other. Because, think about it. In reality, what dream match can possibly happen right now? Taker's retired. Lesnar's part-time. Goldberg is in his mid-50s. You know, every other wrestler is in the mid-card or being underutilized. As far as the females go, the only dream match any other females can do at this point would be Naomi, and if they get Melina to come back for one night, but we know that's not going to happen. If they were to do, I don't know, put Shayna and Ronda together, but I don't think that's going to happen. They blew that one. Other than that, there is no other dream match. There just isn't. I mean, the only way you're going to get a dream match now is if you play the WWE 2K games. That's it. Other than that, there are no longer dream matches in WWE. There are no dream matches in any wrestling promotion at this point. I can't even think of a single wrestler retired or mid-card or part-time who would even compare it to a dream match. In fact, there's nobody who can come in and say, oh, if this person comes out of retirement, he can face this person. Who? Who right now is doing anything? Most of the top guys is in AEW. And most of the top people retired or going to go to WWE. So that interaction is gone. I mean, and people say, well, there's still a chance for Brock and Lashley. No, there is no chance. That chance is over with. That chance is not happening again. And I know that people say never. Yes, you can. Because one, there's no story. There would be no reason now because I was watching someone else say, well, WWE can't write a good story unless the title's involved. Not really. There's plenty of story. But WWE just doesn't take the time to develop the story and let it develop for itself. For example, they did Edge versus Seth. There was no title. They just wrote the story and let it do it for itself. If they were to do Lashley versus Brock, the story is already written. The story been written for years already. Lashley was the new Brock, the new powerhouse. He got skyrocketed to the moon. He did everything. He transitioned to MMA. He had a little unbeaten streak. He came back after however many years after dominating Impact. Came back. After a few years, he won the title, became an unstoppable monster. There's your story. He became the next Brock Lesnar after all these years. Of course, WWE ain't gonna do that. They'll probably write some dumb shit like he did a German suplex last week and Lesnar got mad about it, or some dumb shit like that. So, not even gonna hold my breath. And I mean, as far as female legends, there's only Molly, maybe Victoria. They may come out and take on somebody, but in all in all, I don't really want to see them face anybody. I mean, if Victoria was to come out of retirement, I wouldn't want to see her job out to anybody, especially no goddamn Becky Lynch. But I'm going to say that for another video. Till then, YouTube, like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all on Twitch tonight.